I see more doors.
Yes, let's go. This would be the fun boys' room here. As you can probably notice in the background, this is the noisy room. We keep this isolated from the main building room to help keep the noise down for the guys in the environment. Plus, it's dusty in here also. We want to keep the environment separate. Yeah, nobody, as you see, there's one person in here now, but nobody works in here all day because the environment it's a stressful environment.
And just so you know, this is what it sounds like in my head most of the time.
I feel sorry for you, man.
All right, so basically you've got machines that are you're gonna cut your wood, sand it.
Exactly. All the big noise-making machines are done, and they're all set up in here.
This is a point of interest right here. This room, you equated this to similar to how violin makers would cure wood in an attic.
Yes, and they in that process would take years and years. So we let the wood acclimate to our main room, and then we bring it in here. It's a 2-week process. So it's not just drying the wood, but it acclimates it to the environment. It crystallizes the resins in the wood. So then when we're ready to use it, it's all stable. And that's the main thing, is to making sure all of our wood is stable before we use it.
Okay. Well, let's move on because the sound in my head coupled with the sound in the room, like, I don't know, it's not working so well.
All right, this is Mr. Skills here. We call him Ice.
What up, Ice?
He carves our necks, he bends a lot of the wood, he does a lot of things, and he does it all on a high level. We're lucky here, we have a small crew of 14 people, and they're all really good at what they do. So we love them all. Yeah. So I try to part of my process in the morning is come in and say hello to all of them, because I want to make sure they know that I appreciate what they do.
Yeah, so that's cool. And you guys, I mean, literally there's so much handwork and traditional building, classical building here. You're not putting out that many guitars every week.
No. We do about 17 to 20 guitars in a week. So it's much lower production than Martin and Taylor. It's 300 or 400 in a day. So it's a much different process. This is a much more traditional way of building.
It's a different approach.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
That's a go-bar deck. This is another traditional way of clamping. You'll see this in a lot of guitar makers' shops, whether it's a small builder or even a large builder. It just seems to work. It gives even pressure along the brace, so when you glue it on, it stays on. So it's a real simple. It just really works real well.
And it looks cool.
That it does.
The other thing is, like, brother, what is all this?
We often call it Santa Cruz funk, but it is glue from the guys wiping their fingers off on the beams. So it just builds up.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, they wipe their hands. It builds up.
Builds up. It looks cool.
Adds to the vibe. All right. So where to?
So from there, once Ice has bent the sides, the backs have been jointed. The braces have been glued onto the back. We have a stack of tops over here. Once the tops have had the rosettes put in them, we put the braces on there, and we use these vacuum clamps to put the braces on the tops. Once that's been done,
well, how does this the vacuum clamp? Just so we can get a kind of a peek at how this is
in here now,
being vacuumed.
So you can see the brace is being sucked down by the rubber here. The air has been sucked out, and it's being pressed down into the top.
So basically, this top lid opens up.
Yes.
There's a place to drop the top.
Exactly.
The vacuum pressure sucks it down, and you buckle this thing back down, and by the time it's done, nice and tight.
And more glue.
And more glue. For added vibe.
For added vibe, yeah. So normally it would be a top clamped here. Once it comes out of the vacuum plant there, we put it here. We carve the braces. Once that's done, and it's all sanded and ready to go, we come over to Perry.
That back up. This is.
Perry's working on a set of sides for a Brazilian guitar. Once he puts the linings in and the side braces, we'll put the top and the back together, and then we move on from there.
Okay, so
right now I have in my hand is a product of Perry's work. We have the top and the back glued onto the sides. So we have what we call a box at this point. It's turning into a guitar. Eric will take these boxes and he will bind them, which is what he's doing right now. Gluing on Ivory Binding. And you notice he's working fairly fast because the glue gets kind of tacky. And
so you gotta move quick.
You have to move quick, and it takes, binding is one of the skill jobs, one of the probably most physical jobs here in the shop. Sure. So you really have to know what you're doing and really be skillful at it. once he's done that, we end up something like this. This is a Brazilian Firefly with Brazilian binding and also. So that looks more like what people are used to seeing when they see a guitar.
Sure, sure.
Minus the neck.
And I was actually knocked out. I think we'll look at a couple on the way out.
Sure.
How much this little thing projects. It has such mid-range punch. It just flies out.
Well, our goal was to not just make a small travel guitar. We wanted to make a small guitar that was a real guitar. So this has just as much work and thought in it as any of our other guitars. It's a real guitar. So it's made to be a performing instrument.
There's a couple goodies peeking out here. Look at this quilt. This is nuts. It's not wet. It's not finished. But I mean, once that's finished, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, this wood is one of the most unusual pieces of quilt I've seen, especially on an acoustic guitar. You usually see this stuff on electric guitars. But this is going to be a custom full body burst, going to a dealer back east.
And when you say burst, like what color?
It's going to be kind of an amber burst, a real light translucent burst. We don't want to hide the wood on this one, so we aren't going to do a dark tobacco. It's going to be a nice light but just something to accentuate the wood.
Nice and fresh and light.
Yes.
Well, this thing always kind of grabbed me here.
Yes. Another set of Brazilian.
The entire back.
Entire back, bindings Brazilian, real heavy bear claw top. I don't know if the camera will show that, but once it has finish on it, all that figure will pop out. This will be a pretty insane guitar.
And the purfling.
Yeah, we have abalone purfling all the way around, as well as the rosette. We tend to do it a little thinner than most other builders, so it's a light look to it.
I really like this nice thin stripe we're seeing on the side here.
Yes. So it's very organic in that sense, because it's nice and light, not real clunky. So that's one of our goals. So that way it shows off the beauty of the wood, as opposed to all the other details just clunking it up. Stock of necks. Ice, who you met bending sides over there, would normally be here carving necks. The mass majority of our necks are carved by hand, and that allows us to be flexible and tailor a neck to a person's personal taste.
So are these necks actually carved out already?
No, these are ready to go.
So what does it look like before it's carved and after it's carved? I guess you've got to pull out an example of each.
Now this one's started already. Let's see here. I can show you. There's one right here. Actually, I can show you. It is actually this one, just a neck blank.
So the headstock overlay happens first.
Yes, we put the headstock overlay, shape the headstock. That actually starts out just one big plank of wood. So we've cut the angle in there. The inlay's been put in on the CNC. Then Ice comes in, he carves the neck by hand.
It starts carving by hand.
Yes.
And then fretboard's already on as well.
Yes.
And wood is, I mean, that's pretty
walnut.
crazy.
That's walnut in this one.
So where to next, Mr. Cutter?
We're going to go to the neck fit department.
Because I need to get my neck fit.
That's right. Right over here. So this is probably one of the most crucial steps, because if this isn't done properly, the neck doesn't go on straight. Probably the highest skill level of anything in the shop really is here. It takes a lot of hand skill, also a good eye, and it's, we could save a lot of time by doing a bolt on like a lot of people are going to, but this is a joint that we really believe in.
And this is called a dovetail joint?
Dovetail joints, traditionally. All the vintage Martins were built with this, and a lot of their new guitars still are, but it's something that we share in common with them that we really believe in. It's something that, and when I first started building guitars, this is the way I learned how to do it. And as far as it's fun, it's challenging to do it right, but it's fun. It makes you really feel like a guitar maker because you're really involved in the guitar.
So, and you said this is based on Japanese woodworking.
This technique of dragging a sandpaper on that particular joint is the whole process is, I wouldn't say that, but this technique of using sandpaper, it creates
just kind of sliding it through right now.
Yes, yeah. When it's done properly, it makes an incredibly tight joint between the two sets of wood. So it's really works really well.
And you said if it was the same species of wood, once this joint was finished, that you might not be able to detect that it was actually two pieces.
Exactly right. Oftentimes people would think that it's carved.
If it's done accurately.
Yes, if it's done accurately, and that's what he's doing now. So that's why we have him. And we have, each step in this in our facility are guys that are specialists at what they do, and they're all cross-trained, but We have people that are really, really good, and then we try to put the best person on crucial jobs like this.
He just called you the best person, I hope you know. You better start working them for the cookies and beer.